Throughout Roblox's long history spanning nearly 2 decades, many developers and trends in popular games have quickly come and gone, leaving games of past eras abandoned and lacking active player bases. Today, I'm going to be exploring dead Roblox games with millions of visits that formerly had thousands playing daily, that no longer have active player bases. I sorted these games into 4 categories, with the first category being social hangout games. 2 well-known examples of dead social hangout games from back in the day are OneDev2's Welcome to the Town of Robloxia, created in 2010, and Roblox City, created in 2013. Both of these games are town and city games where you can get a job, buy a house, and roleplay different occupations in a small town. This game also had Morph Magic, I Can Be a Turkey. These kinds of games have always been popular on Roblox, with Welcome to the Town of Robloxia being Roblox's most visited game at one point in the early 2010s. This game was stolen hundreds of times, following it being made uncopylocked, most notably by Jared Valdez. In 2012, OneDev2's account was terminated as it was compromised during the notorious April Fool's 2012 security breach. The game lacked updates from then on out, and even in 2016, it still had a player base of over 500 players, until it was shut down in 2017, and marked as under review by a moderator for an unknown reason. In 2013, a year after OneDev2's termination, Roblox City, a sequel to Welcome to the Town of Robloxia, was created on OneDev2's alt account, OneDev3. The game is very similar to Welcome to the Town of Robloxia, with far better buildings, a new vehicle system, and more. The game was just as popular as Welcome to the Town of Robloxia, having been played over 27 million times. However, it was shut down multiple times for updates and exploit prevention, leading to its player base decreasing each time. While Robloxity can keep a few players daily, the reopened version of Welcome to the Town of Robloxia is completely dead. A much newer town and city game is Widgeon's The Plaza, released in 2016. A game where players can check into their own personalizable condos and customize their new living space, with furniture purchasable with an in-game currency named Plaza Points, based on a mod for the game Gary's Mod named Tower. The game is fondly remembered by those who joined around its creation date and has over 120 million visits, but its active player count has dropped to less than 10 a day, as a result of a lack of updates from its developer. In the following years, a sequel to the game named Plaza X was created, which is still in development, although it doesn't have anywhere near as many visits. Iron Cafe was another popular Roblox game in the late 2000s and early 2010s about hanging out in a nightclub/cafe. The cafe section was removed in the following years though. In the early 2010s, this game was one of the most popular on Roblox until it was content deleted multiple times for months at a time, which impacted the Iron Cafe's then growing popularity. Fresh off Apocalypse Rising's large burst in popularity throughout 2012 and 2013, the 2 owners of the game would create Urbis, a life simulation town and city game about having a job and owning an apartment, which you can later replace in favor of a much larger house with the money that you make in the game. The game had hundreds, nearly thousands of active players at its peak, but struggles to get any nowadays, likely due to a lack of updates and general upkeep from its developers. A developer named Spyro372 made a few different town and city hangout games, such as The Complex and Apartments, both created in 2011, where you buy an apartment and get a job. The Complex was the more popular of the 2 by far, having over 26 million visits across multiple versions. The Complex, despite constantly being on the front page at its peak in popularity, was criticized quite heavily as it was seen by many in the community as an online date or hangout back then. Due in part to its lack of updates and diminishing reputation, the game died off during the mid-2010s and isn't played anymore. For the second category of abandoned Roblox games, I'd like to talk about a few developers that once had multiple games on the front page at one point in time, just for the majority of these games to be abandoned or die out on their own. Lullerus was one of these kinds of developers, as he created the Mad Murderer in 2014, Darkness in 2013, Mad Paintball in 2014, and sequels to each, and all of them were tremendously popular on Roblox at one point. Nowadays, however, these games all lack active player bases, as many of them were broken or simply less popular than their respective sequels. Around the early 2010s, Maximum ADHD, then known as Clone Trooper 1019, had many games that would come and go off the front page. Some of these games These include Cool Killer made in 2011, Spleef made in 2012, Prop Hunt made in 2011, Murder made in 2012, The Stalker made in 2010, and more. Each of these were on the front page at one point, yet most of them have been abandoned, some were broken and never fixed, and some died because they stopped being updated in favor of bigger and better projects. Some of these are still played to this day, like The Stalker's Reborn sequel, Super Nostalgia Zone, a remake of Welcome to the Roblox Building, and more, while games like Spleef 1 and Prop Hunt have long since been abandoned. One of the first Roblox developers to have multiple vastly well-received games at once was Mike, a user who joined in 2006 and made some of the most popular games in the earliest years of the platform, such as Ultimate Paintball, which was the most popular game on Roblox from the summer of 2007 until sometime in 2009. Ultimate Paintball was a capture the flag paintball game made in 2007 that was constantly on the front page for the next 2 years. In 2009, however, its high status started to deplete after long periods of inactivity from its developer and a lack of updates. Only a few years later, the game became entirely unplayable as its main gameplay elements were broken, which was really the final nail in the coffin for this game. Another immensely popular game Mike created in 2007 was Minigame World, a game created in March 2007 which consisted of 7 minigames, and was one of the first minigame based places on Roblox. One of Roblox's forgotten developers that had a much larger impact than most people remember is Uber, a Roblox developer who was active on the platform from December 2007 to early 2009. In that short time period, he created a variety of influential games, including the first tycoon games ever, and some of the first mining simulator games on Roblox, which would become a large trend later down the line. His most well-known games are his now completely dead and broken tycoon games, such as Bread Tycoon and Farm Tycoon. Both were created in late 2007 going into early 2008. Bread Tycoon has you in a factory making bread and earning money to upgrade the bread making process further. Farm Tycoon is fundamentally the same thing, but with quests and taking care of animals. While Bread Tycoon is playable nowadays as people have remastered the game since its decline in popularity, Farm Tycoon is entirely broken, and most of his other games are too. The majority of Uber's games had around 200 to 300,000 visits, which was pretty good for a Roblox developer in 2007. Nearly all of his games have become broken since, and Uber was terminated multiple times in the 2000s and 2010s. Horror games on Roblox have been one of Roblox's largest genres of games for nearly as long as Roblox has been around, with them getting tenfold more popular during the boom in creepypastas and quickly thrown together indie horror games of the early 2010s. Speaking of quickly thrown together, Survival the Jeff the Killer, created in 2018, is a horror game with over 220 million visits. The game sets you in a grassy field with a stolen treehouse free model and another stolen free model of the creepypasta character Jeff the Killer, which chases you down. That is it. This game was most popular in 2018 and 2019 before it was suddenly changed to a default starting place with nothing in it in 2021, leaving this game entirely abandoned. In the summer of 2008, a Roblox user named Bobby Say joined the platform. One of the first games Bobby Say Hi created while learning how to use Roblox's development tools was Zombies Are Attacking McDonald's, a game where you have to survive a horde of zombies in a McDonald's. The game was tremendously basic, consisting of a McDonald's building model taken from the free models toolbox in Roblox Studio, and a wave of zombie models taken from the same toolbox which infect you upon contact. The game is still available on Roblox along with the original version from 2008, both of which have changed names in fear of copyright infringement. Bobby Say Hi still updates Zombies Are Attacking McDonald's to this day and is now most known for a game called Be Crushed by a Speeding Wall, which has over 600 million visits as of 2023. Side note, the trailer for this game from 2012 is ingrained into my brain because of how obnoxiously loud it is. Zombies Are Attacking McDonald's still gets about 5 players a day, but all of this was just an intro for the game that I really wanted to talk about, Terror in Bikini Bottom, released by Bobby Say Hi in 2014. In Terror in Bikini Bottom, players are tasked with exploring a zombie-infested version of the city Bikini Bottom from the show SpongeBob SquarePants, and surviving by fending off zombies with guns bought with points. In 2020, Viacom, known for cracking down heavily on the usage of SpongeBob-related assets online, issued a DMCA claim against Terror in Bikini Bottom, leading to it being deleted. Even before its deletion, the game was receiving occasional updates and had an active player base of a few hundred users. Side note, I used to be cracked at this game back when it came out. Another dead Roblox horror game from the early 2010s is Escape Before It Arrives, a game created by Haunted USA, a developer you're likely familiar with for his Bloody Mary games. Escape Before It Arrives was a multiplayer horror game set in a house that you're tasked to escape before nighttime rolls around, and survive the enemies that intrude the house at night if you haven't made it out. The game was revamped and recreated multiple times, once with guns, once with a completely different house, once in a prison for Halloween 2014, and more. The game has since been abandoned due to the creator going inactive and no longer updating the game, leaving it untouched since 2015. Haunted USA has a few more dead horror games such as Bloody Mary Awakened Trapped, an adventure horror game based around a person attempting the Bloody Mary ritual and getting sucked into a mirror, which was stolen and re-uploaded thousands of times, and likely has tens of millions of visits across its many re-uploads. Yet another dead Roblox horror game that many users remember that has a long, obscure, murky, and convoluted history for zero reasons is Hospital Nightmare 3, created in the summer of 2011 by Adrian928. Hospital Nightmare 3 is a game about going into the bathroom while waiting in a hospital lobby, only to come out and find everyone dead, before going on a long adventure with puzzles and a lot of goofy jump scares. Hospital Nightmares 3 original version has been content deleted, which doesn't really matter as the game was on copyright locked at some point in 2012, meaning anyone could access the game's project file and code. From 2012 to 2015, the game was stolen and re-uploaded thousands of times, much like Bloody Mary Awakened Trapped was. Hospital Nightmare 3 is a dead Roblox game, likely due to how much Roblox horror games have evolved since, with Hospital Nightmare 3 being a janky mess in comparison to most modern day Roblox horror games. One of Roblox's first true horror games was Game Heroes The Cursed House, created for the Roblox Spooky Building Contest in September of 2007. The Cursed House was an exploration game set in an abandoned house with secrets inside of it. It won first place in the most horrifying category in the contest, and the game became popular for a while because of it, though this popularity didn't last long due to a lack of updates from then onward. A lot of early horror games are entirely dead, so this section could be much longer, though if this video ever gets a part 2, I have plenty more dead horror games to list off. These next two games didn't really have a spot in any of those categories, so I put them at the end of the video. Built to Survive games were starting to become popular around the early 2010s with games like Built to Survive the Zombies, created by Danger Tim 112 in 2011. A game where you build with the stamper tool to survive hordes of zombies. The game stopped working years later due to the aging of the scripts inside the already old stamper tool. Thankfully, since the game is broken, people have remastered the original, and those remasters are nowhere near as dead. In 2007, a user named Servano created a similar game based on Resident Evil, which has also since been broken, though Danger Tim 112's Built to Survive the Zombies game was much more popular. One of Roblox's most popular games from the early 2010s was Disaster Hotel, where players get teleported into a hotel and are tasked with surviving one of 6 disasters to receive points. Disaster Hotel's player count started to decline due to its repetitive gameplay, only having 6 disasters in the game. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video discussing and exploring Roblox places that were once lively and full of players, just to be abandoned years later. I'll be making a part 2 to this video in the coming months, so if you have any dead Roblox games that you used to play years ago that you think I should cover, leave a comment below. If you want more dead Roblox places from eras past, a Twitter account named happyhome.rbxl has posted nearly 1,000 games that used to be active at one point, but have no players nowadays. If you enjoyed this video, do things you do after you watched a video you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.